Hello, everyone. Jess, Clair here. Coming to you about something so if you are on, I would love to have you engage in this question. I don't know if this is actually of interest to you. If it is, I think, every time I do this every time. But yeah, so this is something that is really interesting to me, which is, if you are jumping on, please do say hello. What have I just done? What is safe to engage in when you're not a mental health professional? There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of specialists in different arenas. There are people calling themselves trauma coaches. There are people dealing with mental health, child protection. I was just interested in this. If this is of something of interest to you, I'd be curious to find out. For some reason, I cannot see anything happening, and I hate it when I don't know if anyone is there. So if you are jumping on, please do say hello, and please just go hi. If this is of interest to you, counseling, coaching, personal development versus mental health. Is this something that you've been thinking about? When is it okay to coach someone? When is it actually a mental health professional's job to actually deal with someone's health? What's the difference? What's the distinction here? Hello, Chloe. Thanks for jumping on. So I just wanted to jump on and share this with you because I've done some thinking in this arena, and I wanted to share my perspective. Hello, Jen. And I wanted to share my perspective on this just from my own experience, from someone who I would call personal development is something that I absolutely love. Growth, anything performance-based. And yet there are things that are out there these days that are sort of going, do you know, if if you have anxiety, if you have depression, come and do this coaching or come and do this personal development course, and it's going to sort of like fix you, or it's going to give you what you need so you no longer have that anymore. And I was concerned about that, and I wanted to have a discussion on my experience and my view. Hey, Chloe. If you are jumping on, like I said, hello, Kyla, hello, Kayla, sorry, hello, Sharon. This is my experience. This is not the truth. I am no guru. I am a brand marketing sales professional. I am a social media genius. I call myself that. But I am not. But however, I do, because of all of the work that I've done in personal development, I have a big element in my business around mindset, around, if you are going to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So I do delve into some self-reflective work, and I do delve into, inner work where you're actually looking at yourself. You're connecting to parts of yourself that you may not like. Hello, Gary. So particularly things that, to do with failure, because being in business is imminent. Failure is imminent. So I wanted to talk about this because I've had a couple of people come to me. I have clients who do coaching, and, they say things to me like, hello, Charlie. They say things to me like, there's this person who might want to come on my program, and is this safe, and is that okay? And look, again, I'm not a mental health professional, but what I can tell you is my own experience, right? Firstly, I've had a mum who has grappled with anxiety and depression her whole life. And I was adamant that I did this. This course so that she would no longer have anxiety and depression. I did this amazing course. I did the Landmark Forum. For those of you that know me, know that I rave about it. It was the first course I ever did. I've since done about 4 billion courses, but it was really, really, really profoundly impactful for me. Right. Hello, Rani and Maria. And then I was like, everyone needs to do this. This is the answer. If everyone did this, blah, 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 blah. It would be the best thing ever. Hello, Haley. And so I worked to get my mom to go and do this course because I was clear is going to somehow fix her, right? Now, fortunately, I had people at the course that were saying this is not for people who may actually be more appropriate for them to go and see a mental health professional. She got it cleared through her doctor. She did it. It was great for her. She actually had a really great experience. However, my disappointment was that it didn't fix the anxiety and depression, right? And I look back on that now, and what I can see is that was a problem. The fact that I thought that I could fix my mum. And I've since been through my own challenges, which, I would say I've had bouts of my own anxiety and my own depression when I had a marriage breakdown. And it was appropriate for me to not be coached anymore. And it was appropriate for me when I had my marriage breakdown and I had issues around my own kids, hello, Trish, that I didn't seek coaching for this. I actually went and got a psychologist to deal with the physical, mental, emotional well-being of myself. I stopped being coached and I started dealing with my emotional and mental health. So that was really important. And I started to see this distinction. And I can't get fixed when I'm going through what is a very human experience called marriage breakup, not seeing my kids for a long time, dealing with all of the stuff that's happening around that. Going and getting a coach in that moment is not potentially the best idea. Now, in saying that, I'm not telling people what they should or shouldn't do. All I'm suggesting is that dealing with your life is also a big part of it, is accepting that your emotional, mental well-being gets dealt with by the right professional. And as far as I can see, that coaching is for when you are actually in a state where you are trying to accomplish a goal and you can't quite get that goal, or you've been trying for a long time and nothing you're doing is working and you're doing sort of the same thing over and over. It's a performance. It's about performance. It's like, okay, I'm here. If I go and get a coach, this coach is going to show me how to leap my next performance. Everyone around me actually sees the world different to me. If I keep doing what I do, I'll have the same results, but I can get coached by Trish. There's a few coaches on here. I can get coached by, I don't know, who else is there? I can get coached by this coach, and they're going to share with me opportunities that I mightn't see so that I can take myself to another level. That is very different from I'm stuck. My own emotional, mental well-being and mental health is impacted, and I need a professional to assist me. Now, hey, Trish. Now, I'm going to go into a couple other things, but I just want to see some of these comments. Hey, Trey. So good to see you. Catherine. Counselling is person-centered, so the counsellor is trained to aid the process. If someone turns out that is out of your scope, needs more resources, and refer them on. Some issues, especially mental health, have to help them learn to live with their issues opposed to fixing them. Yeah, and hello, Paul. So good to see you. Absolutely. I'm going to just say I almost want to say that this is the truth, but considering my whole value system works on the fact that the only truth I have is my own. Okay, I can't tell you what the truth is because I can only have my own truth. Everyone has their own individual truth. Hello, Rebecca. What I can say is that I don't believe, and I fundamentally believe this, that there is any way to fix anyone, and I nor believe that there is anything to fix in anyone. When we have incidences that happen in life, like I did, I had a marriage breakdown with my mum. you know, with my mum, she actually had a whole bunch of things happen in her life that if anyone had experienced what she had gone through, they would have had emotional and mental challenges. Nothing was going to fix that, but she got to aid. She had emotional, mental health professionals that helped her with that. In terms of her performance, well, unfortunately, in my mum's case, nothing has had the impact that's actually lifted her performance into some other area that, I mean, in saying that, I've talked to my mum. She's actually really happy. It's just that I seem to think that she needs to be somewhere else and I have to deal with that. That's my stuff. I'm like, Mum, you should be out there doing this and that and the other. But actually in her, you know, for her, she's really happy. So maybe, you know, part of it is letting go what we think others need to do, and it really is just about us. What else have we got here? Mental health professionals have medical training. There is a distinct difference. Yeah, they do. These professionals are so busy working, their voices are not on social media. That's true. Coaches don't have any qualifications. Some say they're a coach. Mental health professionals simply don't walk onto the job. This is true. I don't think it's fair to put these in a conversation or even in the same breath together. It's interesting. I think it's important that we make the distinction because in my experience, people are doing both. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Kayla. I think when life is coming at you, first stop hitting your head against the wall, see, and then seek to expand. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't have the answers to this. I'm just curious, and I really appreciate you guys saying this. I went and saw a psychologist for 15 years. And in that, so I from 18 to about 33, so maybe 15 years, I was going to see this psychologist. I was crying every day. I had what I would have said the experience of depression. And I was going into these sessions over and over and over and over again, talking about the same thing. I don't have the relationship with my mom. My dad did this. My mom did this. My mom has anxiety and depression, and she's got this mental health concerns. I don't have the relationship with my dad. And I'm just like repeating this story over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? I didn't need a mental health professional. Now, I had been going for 15 years and it wasn't working. All right. This is my personal experience. I did my first personal development course, and in 3.5 days, all that stuff got sorted. And then I started to actually create what I really wanted to. The relationship I want, the work that I want, the income that I want. So I was, in that sense, when I looked at it, I'm going and seeing a mental health professional when actually what I needed and what was going to be more useful for me was my performance. You know, I was actually seeing a different point of view. It was actually going into some of my own inner stuff, having a look at my own mindset that wasn't being dealt with a mental health professional because I wasn't unwell. Okay. And yet when I had my marriage breakdown, I was unwell. I could not function. I could not work. I had a whole bunch of things that I needed to deal with mentally and emotionally. I had the experience of anxiety a lot, you know, so there is this distinction, right? Let's have a look. Life is coming at you. Yeah. Wow. Thanks, Gary. You need a distraction, girl, maybe a purpose. Yeah. Hello, Rebecca. It's so nice to see you. Speaking from my own experience, I think work best to draw from both coaches and mental health professionals. Do you know what, Rebecca, that you say that as I was thinking, even though I was going through my marriage breakdown and I was seeing a psychologist for my own grief, I had coaches as well. And I do think the combination was like performance. There was like this element of performance, but they also didn't speak out of turn. They were very much aware that I was being human and having a human experience, which involved grief and upset and sadness and sort of like this I guess some people would call that depression, and that was normal. So there wasn't like this need for any of the coaches to try and make me not upset. It was like, well, actually, it's very human, considering you're going through what you're going through, to be going through that. And I think that's actually a really good point, Rebecca, because if you do have a coach that's not really trained, or you have a concern that's not very trained, you might get the experience, and this is just a personal opinion, again, very interested to hear what you might say about it, is you might get the experience of someone trying to stop you from having human emotions. Like, you shouldn't be sad, you should be happy. You shouldn't be this, you should be that. That's a bit concerning for me. And I have had cases where, I have seen people that have actually needed mental health professional, gone and seen a coach instead of, and felt as though they couldn't be human and there was something wrong with them because they might be experiencing, emotions like sadness, upset during normal life events like death or breakup or things like that, when it's actually extremely important that you are able to experience those feelings because they're very human, right? So, hello, Carly. I've seen your messages, Carly. I haven't had a chance to respond. Nice to see you. So, just curious about what people are saying. I think what I'm getting distinct from what you're saying, Rebecca, is, it's important, I guess, to draw a distinction for myself. As someone who is in business, that, we do a whole lot of mindset coaching and business coaching in there. We're very, very clear that you have to be well. You have to, my course is not to somehow, if you have the business that you want, somehow your mental health is going to get sorted. However, in saying that, I think it's really important that you leave it up to the individual, because you don't know what an individual's potential is, or you don't know what is possible with an individual. It really is up to them. I'd be curious what you guys think of that. I'm very much like, people are big enough to make their own decisions, But I make it very, very clear as people are coming into the courses that I do. Dismissal could actually lead to suicide. I'd be interested to hear what you if you've had any experience with that, Trish, and what has you believe that. Expand on that. It's very interesting. Culturally, people's grief and loss experience can be significantly different too. Absolutely. That's a really good point, Trey, because I was talking to someone who said, in some cultures, they actually grieve and wail loudly and just scream and like let all their emotion out, right? As they're watching their loved one be cremated. Whereas in our culture, we don't do that. We have, my experience again, but there seems to be this kind of, when you're going through grief, you sort of have to toughen up and be strong. Well, that was definitely what I thought and I grew up with. And so maybe that emotion not getting expressed is what am I trying to say? If we're not expressing that emotion and we're not going and dealing with it appropriately with people, and we're not actually allowing that experience of grief and upset and humanity, as I call it, normal human emotion, to be expressed, what is happening with it? And do people go to coaches? Because at some level, why coaches? Because I'm really fascinated by this kind of rise of coaches, right? And do people go and seek this sort of counselling coaches? Because there is this kind of stigma in our society, which is, if you go to a mental health professional, you're kind of screwed. There's something wrong with you. I dare say that's the case. Whereas coaches, it's more of a performance. It's like, I'm going to lift my performance. I'm going to go and I've got a coach who's going to show me I'm here and I'm going to get to there. So it's far more safe. And where people get mixed up is not being able to distinguish or having that stigma attached. Whereas, like Rebecca said, what if you could do both, right? What if both were an appropriate solution? But how do you distinguish? Hey, Sky, empowerment. Say a bit more about that. That person took their life. Okay. And what do you think? And do you think it was dismissal that caused that? Is that what you're saying in your experience? I mean, we'd have to look at the individual case, in itself. I don't want to add to making up anything around it, and I'm happy to talk to you personally about it, Trish. But if there is certainly concerns about it, I am really curious about what those concerns are. Trish, yes, I worked in the mental health sector for 16 years, and I heard someone say to a client, you always say the same thing. You always want to take your life, but you don't. And then that person took their life. Okay, I think I'm catching up now. Right. Oh, yes, I got it. Caught up. I think that if I'm experiencing the sadness and grief of being human, I want people around me to ground me and call me out and hold space. If it's worse and I realize, actually, that's actually a good point. So Chloe, what you're saying is, and I want the same. I honestly believe everyone wants this, right? When you're experiencing something, you kind of want someone to hold you through the space of sadness and grief, right? And that's just holding you. That's what a friend would do, right? What do you expect out of a coach, though? And a friend would do that. And if you're not getting that, even if someone's holding you, then if it gets worse, you realize and you seek medical help. Like, okay, there's something going on here. Right. Hello, Penelope. I suppose what I wanted to really get clear for myself is I know that there have been times for myself that I thought validation and love. Yeah. I know there have been times for myself that I thought I needed a coach and it was actually inappropriate for me to have a coach and I needed a mental health professional. And I was going and getting coaching and getting coaching and getting coaching only to discover there was something I was not well and I wasn't dealing with it. So I think in your case, when you say that, Chloe, when I realize it's getting worse, then I seeked medical help and I actually got what I needed. And it was in the getting the medical help that I was able to get well. And I had a really great doctor. And it got so bad, it got so bad that I, needed to see a psychiatrist who really was just really great. Didn't have any medication or anything, but it was actually something that I needed to work through with a professional. Now, once I got well again, I could actually enter back into the world of coaching, which I love, personal growth, personal development. And then I could go up again. And there have been cases, mental health assessment. It's interesting. There have been times, like I said, where I've been seeing a psychologist from 18 to 33, and I'm like going and going and going and going, and none of it's making any difference. And then I find out the world of coaching, I do one course, and then I'm off again. So maybe there's no answer to this. Maybe it's just noticing when you're hitting your head up against a wall with either solution and one's not working, that you maybe do try other things. Is a coach someone who motivates you like a gym buddy? Lol. Who's that? I can't see everyone. I can only, if you're on, I'm on my page in this case. So if you're on another page, I'd love you to say who your Facebook user is. I guess someone that motivates you, kind of. I more get a coach to, yeah, I like that. I personally have coaches for outcomes. So I get a coach to go, all right, I want to take my business to this level. So I get a coach who can coach me to do that and who will like almost promise me that they're going to provide that. Or I want a relationship. It's not something I'm interested in right now. If I did, I'd maybe get a coach. Kelly, Pete's mate. Kelly, Pete's mate. Man, I know so many Kellys. now I'm curious. Kelly who? Kelly who? I literally hung out with Kelly last night. Pete. Anyway. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are straight away. Counselling, coaching for performance, counsellors for short-term assistance, psychologists for longer-term issues, and psychiatrists when you require medicine intervention. Well, it didn't even require medicine intervention. Maybe this guy was just really good. But yeah, it got pretty bad. So I like that. I do like that distinction though, Trey. Coaching is for performance. Oh, Pete. Oh, Kelly. Sorry, Kelly. I know who you are now. I was with Pete over the weekend. Coaching for performance. Yeah. Counselors for short-term assistance, psychologists for longer-term issues. Yeah. And I think considering, a lot of the people in my network and in, a lot of the people that do the work with me are coaches and have come to me and been really curious about this. It's important that you recognize that the job of a coach is not to help or save people from their current mental or emotional concerns. It's not. We're not here to fix people. Firstly, personally, like I said, I'm saying people don't need fixing. People are so perfect the way they are. And that's what I'm profoundly connected to as a coach. I call myself a coach, but actually I just freaking love people. And I think humanity is beautiful the way that it is, and it's all in perfect synchronicity, and everything is happening the way that it's meant to be happening. And sure, that might sound woo-woo, and I'm really fine with that. And that's my truth. It doesn't have to be yours. But there is nothing to fix in people. But what we do offer, personally, I believe, is we all offer this unique perspective and value that I see the world the way that you don't see it. You see it the way that I don't see it. I can't see how you see it without having you contribute something or tell me something you see in me that I don't see, and vice versa. And it is such a beautiful place and a vulnerability for me to go to someone and go, and I probably will be doing this shortly, not this year, maybe next year, but it's such a beautiful vulnerability to go to someone and say, I've been grappling and trying to, make a relationship work for a long time, and whatever I'm doing is not working, and I've probably got massive walls up, seeing as though my experience in the past, and so I'm probably attracting people that it's not working out with, or I'm getting great people and I'm just driving them crazy because I'm so hard to be with now that I'm all burnt. So can you help me find someone? Can you coach me in the performance of relationship so I can actually attract the person that I want? I mean, that is a beautiful vulnerability to have, right? And you pick that with any area of your life. You pick that with business, you pick that with work, you pick that with quality of life. There are things out there. And that's what's beautiful about coaching in this whole new coaching world, why I love it, because it's really humanity-led. It's how do we have people have great lives? Whereas, mental health is about, I'm really unwell. I can't even participate in life. I can't participate enough to even have a bad relationship, So this I think these are two distinct domains, and I think that's a really, really great way of looking at it, Trey. Love you. Thanks, Trish. So is there anything else anyone wants to say? I think that was great. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. If you do have any other thoughts on this or you want to add anything, please do leave a comment. And I just want to end in, I think it is really important considering the domains in which a lot of us, it's actually, I think this is what Rebecca is saying. What are your thoughts on coaches understanding their duty of care in their clients? For example, you could trigger a mental health episode for someone while coaching them. How do you know if that's happened to your client? This is actually really important. My thoughts are that if you're coaching someone and they are a human being, there is a potential for you to actually trigger a mental health episode, like you put it. And an episode being, it triggers something from the past. It brings up some sort of like reactivate some sort of trauma. And you know, if you are going to be a coach, you need to know how to deal with that. And if you don't know how to deal with that, and you're dealing with someone's mental well-being, and you somehow make them wrong for how they're acting, it's like, no, you put yourself in the arena as a coach. You have to be willing, and you have to be in the long march of I'm here and I'm actually taking care of someone's life. So I think it's really important, and I think that's why some people are concerned about the level of the level of education and the level of qualification of coaches, is that we are triggering people. It's actually important for growth, it's very important for growth. However, at the same time, you have to be responsible for what you're actually doing here. You can't just trigger someone and then if they react and kind of blame you for how they feel, then get into some sort of argy-bargy fight with someone. No, you got to love them, and you got to like really get that this is where you're putting yourself. You're putting yourself in the front line of humanity. You're actually going, I'm going to be someone, I'm going to be someone that's going to support people through things. And you can't be going and getting the shits with people if they get triggered, because you are a coach, you trigger people. That's actually part of it. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and I think that's actually a really good point. And I think Tracy said, hello, Haley. Tracy said, check out the ACA Code of Conduct to ensure you are within standards. Well, I'm a business coach, but, I might actually check it out. But I do teeter on mindset. So, I check it out. Thank you, Tracy. I will. Maybe I'll do another live on it. But yeah, it's something that I'm very passionate about. It has come up a number of times over the last few weeks, and particularly with my own experience with my mum and myself. Hello, Courtney. You're welcome. And yeah, I think mental health first aid is probably a really good idea. I mean, personal trainers who have to do first aid when they go into personal training, they do a certificate and they do like a year of study, but they're not like your human movements. They haven't done 3 years. They're not physios. They don't know the ins and outs of things in the body. And you're working with the body, and yet there's certain things that, and criteria they have to kind of be aware of. So maybe that is part of it, and maybe that is responsible. But anyway, I'd be curious to know what people think. Again, thank you so much for contributing to this. I think these conversations are important. Once again, I don't have all the answers to this. I just think that these are issues that we are currently facing, and I think it's important that we have a conversation about them. So I'm really happy for anyone to contribute to this and provide anything that you think is valuable to this conversation. Mental health first day is a 2-day course. Okay, good. All right, there you go. Thank you, Trish, for your conversations here and your contribution to that. It's really good to know. And until next time, guys, thank you for tuning in to Curious with me. All about expanding the conversations that matter and content that makes a difference. Be the influence on social media. Don't be influenced by it. Okay. Have a great night. Until next time, see you guys.